Howdy Brazos Valley, it's Hayden Riley with Inhabit Real Estate Group with your monthly MLS update. This is where I share the previous month's statistics to share with you what's been going on real estate-wise in our market. The information provided is provided by the MLS, by the Texas Association of Realtors, and the Texas Real Estate Center. And it is general information. If you'd like to know how this applies specifically to you, please feel free to reach out to me at hayden@haydenriley.com. You can find me on social media at Hayden Riley Realtor or on my website at www.haydenriley.com. Without any further ado, let's get started. Howdy folks. It is November of 2021, which means we're going over October's numbers. Let's get started. All right, we're looking at the red line for 2021, and you can see that for most of our year, we have trended much lower than the previous 2 years on average days on market. We're looking at active listings with this number. So of the active listings, the average active listing has been on the market for 84 days. So let that soak in. Also, just keep in mind that 120 days is usually a line of demarcation into more of a balanced market where seller and buyer don't really have an advantage over each other. So this kind of gives you an idea of how far below that number we are. Therefore, we're in more of a seller's market. Units sold. Our units sold or closed transactions are below the previous year for the first time in almost a year and a half, which is saying something. Now, don't get too excited. That doesn't mean that we're on a downward trend as far as real estate activity is concerned. You'll see why in a minute, but we're at 304 for this month compared to 328 for October of 2020. So let's take a look at some more numbers just to give you more of the lay of the land. We stayed on trend as far as new listings taken for October, 393. Not much higher than the previous 2 years. And for us to move into more of a balanced market, we definitely need more inventory. And as you can see from this red line, the only time where we had significantly more listings than in previous years is back in March. Otherwise, you know, we had one little blip in July, but otherwise we stayed pretty much on trend or below trend. So that said, we're not adding to the inventory. There are definitely a lot of buyers out there who are taking away from it, though. And we're taking a look at now the College Station and Bryan housing report compared to the previous 3 reports were for the 7-county area. So this report, our median price point for those 2 cities is $279,500, which is up 12.7%. Active listings are down 49.6%. Days on market, Days on market, 86. It's just 32 days less than October of 2020. The price distribution is about where it usually is, with the lion's share of real estate listings between $200,000 and $300,000. The closed sales down 17.2%, as we saw in the units sold report earlier. And then the months of inventory, 1.4. And I'd like to take a brief moment. Those of you know I do this each time, but just in case you haven't heard this before, this is where we take a hypothetical situation where if we repeated October over and over again without adding any new inventory, it would take 1.4 months to completely deplete our inventory, compared to 3.4 months this time last year. 6 months is your typical, that is your balanced mark. That is your balanced market mark. So that kind of gives you an idea, again, of how far below our normal inventory level, or at least a normal inventory level, we are. Now we're looking at weekly activity. Now this is where I pull information from our local MLS. This is for residential listings. And the total active listings as of this morning is 503. And in the last week, 120 listings went pending. In other words, went under contract. So that means that 23.8% of our inventory went under contract in the last week. That said, if you look at this chart, that is one of our higher months, as was higher weeks, and last week was too, for the year. So definitely a lot of activity that's going on. That certainly means a continued rise in pricing, rise in property value. It also means if you're a seller, it's probably a good time to sell, even though we're coming up on the holidays. If you're a buyer, don't let that discourage you because interest rates are still low. I would definitely keep an eye out for the market, though, because that may change soon. If you'd like some more information, please feel free to reach out to me at Hayden Riley Realtor on Facebook. You can also find me at haydenriley.com. Hope you guys are having a great day, and thanks for listening.